The sirens were closing and fast chaos broke out downstairs. Mr. Chen screamed, "Take him out!" "Go out the back." The two guys came at me from both sides. I shoved Sarah hard into the corner, grabbed a chair and swung it at the guy on the left. Cracked the wood splintered across his shoulder. He grunted, slowed for just a beat, but the guy on the right was already swinging. Aimed straight at my temple, I twisted away. His fist grazed my cheekbone and it burned like fire. Before I could get my footing, there was a flash of steel. He had pulled out a switchblade and lunged straight at Sarah. Sarah's scream exploded in my ear. In a split second, I dove forward. Threw myself in front of her, the blade punched into flesh with a dull thud. Searing pain detonated through me. Left shoulder went ice cold, then turned to burning. The guy never expected me to charge into the blade. He froze for just a second, and that was all I needed. My right hand locked onto his knife wrist, and I drove my forehead into his nose. Crack bones snapped, he screamed and let go of the blade. He stumbled back, police freeze. Everyone on the ground just then. Officers flooded up the stairs. I pressed my hand over my bleeding shoulder, stepped in front of Sarah and raised my right hand. "Officers, we are the victims here." Mr. Chen was still squirming on the floor and got pinned down hard by the officers. A young cop took one look at me covered in blood and grabbed his radio. "We have an injured civilian up here, need an ambulance." Sarah rushed over and pressed her trembling hands against my wound, tears pouring down her face, her voice completely broken. "You are bleeding so much." I leaned against the wall and managed to smile. Reached up with my good hand and gently touched her face. "It is just a flesh wound. As long as you are okay, that is all that matters." By the time we left the precinct, it was pitch dark outside. Sarah was gripping my arm tight, her fingertips ice cold and trembling slightly. We found a quiet spot and she stopped walking. She looked up at me, tear streaks all down her face. "How did you know I was there? How did you come alone?" I reached up and gently wiped away her tears. "Because you are my wife. And Cassie is our daughter. If the sky falls, I am the one holding it up. Do not worry, the hospital deposit has already been paid." Sarah buried herself in my arms and sobbed like she was crying out every last drop of fear and pain. I held her shaking body tight and let the tears soak through my shirt. The sky had no stars, but the darkest part of the night was already behind us. Back at the hospital, a nurse cleaned and dressed my wound. The stab to my left shoulder took more than a dozen stitches. The doctor said another centimeter, and it would have hit a nerve. Once I was bandaged up, I told Sarah to go back to Cassie's room. She hesitated. She had already been away from her daughter too long. She could not settle and finally gave a small nod and went. I sat in the treatment room and caught my breath, just as I was about to get up. My phone buzzed a bank deposit notification. Gu Weidong had sent over another transfer. He called it a medical fund for Cassie. I checked the amount, it was enough. I pushed open the hospital room door and found Jake standing at the end of the hallway on his phone. When he saw me, his expression darkened. He hung up and walked over Chen Zuisheng. He kept his voice low. "Where did the 500 grand deposit come from?" "Won it gambling on virtual races," I said. He stared at me for a few seconds and let out a cold laugh. "Chen Zuisheng gambled for years and never once brought a dime home. Now the kid gets sick and suddenly you are on a winning streak." I did not respond. "I bet you went crawling to Mr. Liu to borrow it." Played too proud to take the job, then turned around and begged for money. "I am warning you, whatever $1 million debt you racked up, do not drag the Zhu family into it." He turned and walked away, and I stood there watching him go. Over the next month, Cassie stayed in the hospital. Idiopathic pulmonary arterial hypertension is extremely rare, and in this country, all we could do was keep her stable on imported medication. Her condition kept slowly slipping, and Sarah and I took shifts. She took days, I took nights. When I got tired, I would lean against the hallway chairs for a bit. When I got hungry, I would grab the cheapest takeout box from the hospital cafeteria. The Zhu family never showed up. I knew Sarah was hurting over it, but she never said a word. Sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night and see her slumped over the bedside, holding Cassie's little hand, staring into nothing. A month later, the Zhu family finally came. The doctor was running Cassie's checkup, and after it was done, he told us the current medication could only slow the progression, it could not reverse it. Long-term, the strain on her heart and lungs would only get worse. Richard heard all that, and the first thing out of his mouth was about money. "The 500 grand is almost gone, right?" Jake's tone was flat. "Have you figured out how you are going to pay it back?" "It was not borrowed," Sarah said. "Not borrowed?" Helen cut in. "Did it fall from the sky?" Richard pointed right at me in front of everyone. "Nothing but lies. My daughter and granddaughter are suffering because of you." I kept my temper down. "Dad, keep your voice down. Do not scare the child. You think you can call me Dad." Just then, the hospital room door swung open. The doctor walked in with a group of specialists. "We have some news." The doctor looked at us, a world-class cardiopulmonary team from overseas. "We'll be conducting a cutting-edge interventional procedure here in the country soon, combined with a precision gene-targeted therapy approach by rebuilding pulmonary microcirculation. Paired with targeted molecular regulation, there is a real chance to reverse the disease at the root." He paused. "Cassie's indicators are a perfect match." Sarah grabbed my hand hard. Her eyes went red, but treatment has to begin immediately. "The initial cost is $1 million. I stepped out of the room. At the end of the hallway, I called Gu Weidong. "Do not worry about the money," he said. "Professor Roberts is someone I brought in personally from Zurich. He reviewed your daughter's case and said she is in better shape than expected. The surgery results should be excellent, thank you, no need. He paused. The mother and daughter have both been found. Mr. Chen, I owe you one for this. I hung up, went to the billing window and paid, then walked back to the room. I heard Richard's voice through the door, see that... The second money comes up, he disappears. Sarah, just say the word and divorce him. The Zhu family will cover everything. Sarah's voice was quiet but steady. Mom, Dad, Jake, I appreciate it, but we really do not need it. Zhu Sheng paid another $1 million in deposit 2 days ago. The room went silent for a few seconds. A nurse pushed the door open to prep for surgery and casually mentioned, "Sweetie, your father just paid another $1 million this morning."